Hi, this is Sporty King, the master of listening, and I'm excited to be one of the 2020 visionaries. We're six heart-centered thought leaders and influencers based in the greater Charlotte area, excited to deliver our pandemic perspectives to help you keep it together while we're in this together, experiencing it differently. Today, I'll be talking to fellow visionary Dianne Chase. This coronavirus has put us all in unknown and challenging territory, as you've heard me say. And that's why we're doing a series of interviews so that to where we want to share our individual and collective wisdom about not just surviving these difficult days, but thriving when life takes on its new normal. Dianne, what are some things you think we could be doing collectively or individually to help people navigate this new storm?
Sporty, it all comes down in my purview to communication, communication, communication.
CCC. Sounds
Yeah.
like yes, yes, yes. I'm sorry.
You know what? More and more and more of the same in terms of communication, but it has to be done well. And we're all so in a state of flux and uncertainty, and that generates fear. We are afraid of what we don't understand and what we don't know. And so in terms of my F factors is what I call them in terms of working with people on communication, to go for facts, not fear. So that means as a leader, and whether it's a leader of me, myself, and I, or a leader of a team, a leader of an organization, you have to be a source of actual information because that dispels fear. So there's so much, we're so vulnerable to fake news and all of the social media ranting and raving and all of the noise out there, that as a leader, as an individual, to get through this, both personally and professionally, really, is to be a source of information and calm. So we want to be on top of the facts, and we want to convey a sense of normalcy as much as possible, but of confidence in that we all will get through this together, but we have to work with the facts. And the second piece is focus, not flailing. So focus on what the new priorities are right now for you, your business, your leadership, your team, your family. What do you need to take a different look at? What do you need to be more creative about and innovative about in terms of how you are approaching what you need to do in your work? Do you need to look for new solutions, new stakeholders, new customers? Do you need to start planning now to deal with things in a whole new way and maybe a better way? What are you doing now that you really don't need to keep doing? And you're realizing that through this really stressful time. How can you reframe what you do, perhaps, to reach out to a whole different audience? There's so much opportunity now for creative thinking. This is a time when we can really excel. And maybe, just because we've always done something the same way doesn't mean it's actually the best way. And so, we get really creative when we have to.
And let me grab you right there because you come right into my wheelhouse when you talk about creativity. And I like that you're giving us, I just want to restate for people that you're giving us the F factor, because so often people consider an F is a bad thing. And so already you're talking about a shift in thinking.
Absolutely. That's a good way to look at it. Absolutely. Yeah. And so we want to, again, look at how we have opportunities now that we never imagined or maybe even sought out, but they could be some of the best things that come through to get us through this, the way we're creative. So for instance, when I broke my wrist, I got super creative on what I could use instead of my right hand. So I was using my chin to hold things and try and open them with my left hand. You get really creative when you have to. So this is a time to step back, look at things in a fresh perspective, not go into the bunker. In my trainings, I say, if you put your head in the sand, you know what's sticking up. And so it's a big target back there. You don't want that to happen.
And see, look at that. So I'm thinking too, now, number one, you went right into using humor, but I was even laughing thinking about how one of the things we have to be conscious of, like when you broke your hand and you start using your left, Now you have to deal with your friends like us who started calling you lefty. So yeah, so right now, so you're choosing your messenger is carefully right now, because the people who are bringing information and what type of humor they're using with you, etc. Is that something we really is a more keen focus we need?
Right. To be to 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 know that you are going to get through this. It may not be
Okay.
fun, but we have to, attitude's everything, and you're the king of that. That's for sure.
Mhm.
But I think that to be, if the sky is falling in your head all the time, that's
Mhm.
just not a good place to be. And you're never going to look at this time we're going through it as an opportunity, quite frankly. So in my crisis work, working with people, on crisis management, crisis planning, crisis communication, I use a Chinese symbol. And the symbol for crisis is one signifies danger and one
Mhm.
signifies opportunity.
Okay.
Their symbol for crisis conveys danger and opportunity at the same time.
Mm.
So that's it. I think that's a really good thing to ponder. How
And in
can we look for new opportunities during this difficult time?
Right, because we're starting from the bottom, and you're working your way up. In fact, the military term is ground zero.
Right.
Well, I don't know if that's a military term. I mean, ground zero was what we used with the World Trade Center,
9/11. Yeah.
but in military time, they do start from 0, 100. Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
and so and that zero, which is an O in our alphabet, is also what you're talking about, opportunity.
Exactly right. Oh, that was a nice little.
Told you, creativity.
Always thinking. Always
Yeah,
thinking. That's
and there's
perfect.
something we need to do, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. But don't mix up an O with a zero, because that could get really complicated.
Right.
All that.
So we have to be really careful about the formulas we take in this new normal. Huh? Is that, weren't you still on? Didn't you have another F?
I do.
Okay, not bad.
The last one is feelings, not
Mm.
formality.
Ah,
And by that, I don't mean don't go non-professional, but don't be corporate speak. Don't don't try and, just be very analytical and data driven and case studies and here's the latest report and here's the infographic and the status and all that stuff. And as you know, going through my storytelling workshop, I,
wonderful.
I,
Yes, it was.
I
Plug, plug.
well, I
No.
didn't say the name of it, but
No.
we talk about using a personal story to convey a business message, because a personal story will have an impact that data simply does not. And
Right.
hitting, especially now with, every day there's a new report. What are the numbers today? And, what's the percentage? And, what condition is this? And it's just overwhelming. So
Hmm.
let's dial it down and be a human. Let's talk in clear language consistently.
Hmm.
You have to communicate through this. You just really do need to realize how powerful that is, because we're going to get through it together, but we do have to be compassionate with each other. We have to
Sure.
be empathetic,
Yes.
right? We don't know how people are dealing with this whole situation. Some people are really struggling, really struggling. For instance, if you have a very sort of structured work life and you go to a cubicle every day and you have lunch at this time every day, and now you're working from home, with dogs and kids and spouses and pandemonium around, that's a challenge that you were not ready for, probably. So, how does that people need to hear from us? How do we communicate with them in a way that they feel included? They don't feel isolated. They feel supported. That's really important. What are those messages that, that will really keep them uplifted and, again, focused and keeping on the facts, staying off of the social media craziness, fighting all of that. There's more heat than light out there a lot of times. We want to stay away from the heat.
Yeah.
We want to go to the light, stay away from the heat.
Come to the light, Caroline. Yeah. And it's really about, as you're saying, it's really about now making technology personal.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times we want to say, well, technology makes it too factual, but as you've put so well, it's how we use the facts.
Right. What do they really mean? And the danger in just conveying with facts and data, showing people an infographic,
Hmm.
they're going to interpret things differently. So
Hmm.
if you want your message to be clear, you need to create a story around the data. So use the facts, use the data, but put a story around it so they get it. So they know, okay, that's what that really means. Or I thought that was the
Hmm.
important part, but really this is really what I should take away from this. So you want to communicate in a way that people understand and remember your message, and then retell. And the retelling part is all about, it's kind of that social power that we have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
platforms like Nextdoor, right?
Hmm.
I, I'm feeling so optimistic with some of the things I'm seeing right now. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, the power of the human spirit is amazing. I'm seeing people out talking to each other,
Hmm.
like neighbors, like, you don't see that.
Hmm.
I see, there was a great little video I just saw a few minutes ago about these teachers who they did a caravan through the neighborhood where their students live, and the students were out and they were just waving at them and making that connection, almost made me cry because
Wow.
they,
Nice.
oh my gosh, just
Yeah.
those small acts, those bits of communication that can be so powerful.
And see, there's where even the technology is wonderful, because how many people know about what you just saw,
Right.
and so the ability to now spread that, and say, hey,
Right.
here's something that's going on.
Here's
And
something positive that's
yeah,
happening.
yeah, hey, we could do that in our neighborhood. That won't cost us a lot, and yeah, yeah.
And people pulling together to reach out and say, hey, this little neighborhood restaurant is really struggling. We went by the other day, and the owner and a cook and one other person were the only people in there, and they were just
Okay.
taking stuff to the curbside and doing delivery. And people were saying, please go by and order takeout. Please, support
Mm,
them because
mm.
they may not make it through. So that greater good is coming out in people, which is really heartening. It really is.
And I'm glad you said that, because I was wanting to come back to one of the things you said earlier, one of your F's, and that is feelings, because I think that one of the things that people have to recognize is that no emotion in itself is wrong. People should be afraid. Will still continue to get angry. You'll be, empathetic. Cry. All of these emotions are real. So how you
Right.
feel does make a difference, but it's not deciding that the person who's buying 6 big things of toilet paper is a hoarder. It's stopping to think about the fact that maybe they took the order for the block, and they're getting it for 5 other people.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Don't don't jump to conclusions. I think that's a real important point. And the whole feelings thing, it's of course, a wonderful saying is to put yourself in someone else's shoes, um,
mm-hmm,
and communicate with them in a way that resonates with them.
mm-hmm.
Communicate in a way that, stop, take a breath, don't judge, and try and get more information. Try to understand. And, like you said, we can't deny feelings.
Can't do
We can't, because that suppressing them is not a healthy thing to do.
Ooh.
But you have to learn to move through them and figure out a way to express them in a way that's healthy. And
Give us your formula on that, because that's something that is really, and I know you've kind of touched on it earlier, but I think it bears repeating, how you can work through those feelings
well, you
through
can work through the
storytelling.
feelings in terms of writing down, journaling,
Hmm.
writing down your feelings, and then even going back and looking at them and saying, wow. I mean, I've done that, and I'm like, wow, I was really in a different mindset right then.
Hmm.
And now I have better perspective.
Hmm.
But getting it down on paper really works wonders.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are having trouble because, like me, my endorphin rushes are not the same as going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, don't stop getting outside. It's so important to move. And when
Mm.
you move, what happens? I get my creative thoughts. I
Juices
get
flow.
my new perspectives.
Yes.
When I'm out, you know, jogging or power walking, that's when my head is just, I don't listen to music. I don't do anything. I let my brain go. And that it's pretty cool.
Let me ask you one final question to recap on the journaling thing, because I think that's going to be a shift for some people who may not be familiar with it. Do you have to read your journal, and how often?
You know what? I think I, I don't think there's any, you know, everyone's different. I don't think there's any schedule about reading it, but I would, like, even at the end of the week when you're closing out your week, or on a Sunday when you're getting ready to start your week, to look back through your thoughts that you had the week before and see what you could learn or take away from those. What
Okay.
could you maybe think about differently?
Mhm.
And I had so many thoughts in my brain yesterday about, I wonder what will be, you know, like going through this. I wonder what will happen. I wonder how many people will blah, blah, blah. And I just went, I had this long list of thoughts that I had to get out of my head because you know, I didn't want to forget them, and I forget stuff a lot. So I have to write these down.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Diane. I appreciated it. Journaling is important, and you have to be the general of your journal.
Very well said. And the captain of your communication.
There you go. All right. Thanks again. Well,
Thanks,
ladies and
Lord.
gentlemen, look, now is a time for calm consideration of the true options. We heard the 3 F's today. Please follow and share the 2020 Visionaries as we bring you pandemic perspectives toward helping you keep it together while we're all in this together, experiencing it differently. Thank you, and God bless you.